Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of my Greek Orthodox Odyssey. This is a different vlog episode to what I normally do, and today it's going to be more spiritual and a reflection of some of the things that I've learnt along the way, and more specifically the things that I've learnt about Greek Orthodox Lent, which starts this coming Monday, and this Monday within the Greek Orthodox context is named Kathari Deftera, Clean Monday, and the whole week is called Kathari Evdomada, which means clean week. So why is it called Clean Monday? Why is it called Clean Week? Where do we start? I guess the easiest way to sort of break it down is to talk about the fact that the Greek Orthodox Church has a number of stages and phases of preparation leading to Pascha, culminating in Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday. So this Monday represents the beginning of Greek Orthodox Lent, which goes for 40 days. And unlike the Roman Catholics and other denominations, the Greek Orthodox Lent goes for 40 days till the beginning of Holy Week. So the Greek Christians, the Greek Orthodox Christians, are called to fast not just 40 days, but it's a longer period. So much so that last Sunday was named Meat Fair Sunday. Sorry, the one before that was named Last Sunday was Meat Fair Sunday, where we ceased eating meat for this week. So this week, Monday through to Sunday, I will not eat any meat. And then from Monday onwards commences a more stricter fast for those who wish to participate. So the reason why we don't have meat after Meat Fair Sunday is that it goes back to the Old Testament, in Genesis, where God said to Adam and Eve that you can eat of all the fruit, you can enjoy all of paradise, but there is only one command that I need you to keep, and that is not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So essentially God gave them free rein to do whatever they want, to enjoy themselves and to enjoy creation and to enjoy the fruits of creation. But he did tell them that there was one thing that he didn't want them to do. And similarly, this week within the Greek Orthodox Church, we are called to be obedient in order to reflect on Genesis and the time where God told Adam and Eve that they could enjoy all of the fruits of creation, with the exception of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So the meat, so to speak, represents the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So we're basically called to be obedient and to not do God's command, or to observe God's command. So what happens is we stop eating meat, and then during this week we're allowed, as we said, to eat everything and anything except meat on all days of the week. This is one of the few weeks of the year where Greek Orthodox Christians don't fast on a Wednesday or a Friday, knowing that in the original church, fasting was kept for Wednesdays and Fridays, and we didn't have any of the 40-day fasts, the 40-day fasts for Pascha, for Christmas, for the Dormition of the Panagia, and the Apostles' fast came later. They came later and were instituted by the church. So what we're saying here is, we are all called to fast as Adam and Eve are, and the church requires us through their canons to fast. On the Thursday of last week was Tsiknopempti, which is a day where Greek Orthodox are called, for those who eat meat, not everybody eats meat of course, but for the lay people who eat meat, they're called to eat as much meat as possible and to celebrate that day in preparation for the Sunday that has passed, where they cease eating meat. And this week is Tiranis, and we're called to eat as much dairy, fish, cheeses, milk, and all of the foods, with the exception of meat. Meat being beef, lamb, pork, and chicken. We can also eat eggs this week. And on Sunday, the Greek Orthodox Church celebrates, or commemorates, should I say, the expulsion of Adam and Eve from paradise. So on the Sunday, the church has the icon that we venerate, which is the expulsion of Adam and Eve from paradise because they didn't keep the fast. So that evening, on Sunday evening, the Greek Orthodox have a special service which many people are not aware of, and it's called Forgiveness, the Forgiveness Sunday service, which is held in the evening, which basically means it's the beginning of the church week, given that the church day commences at sunset for the following day. So on Sunday we're going to have a forgiveness service at the Archdiocese Church there at Redfern, where all the priests in Sydney will be available, will be present. And what we basically do is, during that service, we seek forgiveness and offer forgiveness to each other, and we're called to do that also for all of those people around us, to ask our spouses, our friends, our family, our uncles, our aunts, our parents, to ask forgiveness for the things that we've done, for the things that we haven't done, the things that we've said, and all of those things, both known and unknown. So we seek and offer forgiveness, and we do that in order to cleanse ourselves and to free ourselves to be able to fast from Monday with a clean heart, and a clean slate. Because you can't fast, you can't go into Lent holding grudges, not talking with your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, and having unresolved issues. So Christians are called throughout the world to make a call and to ask forgiveness and to offer forgiveness. So even if you ask somebody for forgiveness and they don't give you forgiveness, it doesn't matter. The important thing is for you to seek forgiveness. You've done your part and you'll be judged on doing your part. So what happens is from Monday is a strict fast for those who want to maintain a strict fast. And as the late Archbishop Stylianos said, fasting is not optional for Christians. A lot of people seem to think that fasting is optional. You don't have to do it. He said, if you can fast, you must. It's in the canons of the church that people are called to fast. And if you're not fasting, then you can't really celebrate Tsiknopemti, or because Tsiknopemti is only for those people who are preparing to observe the fasts. If you're enjoying and partaking in Apokrias and Tsiknopemti and not fasting, then you're basically living as a fake, so to speak. It's only for those people who are indulging in a fast and following a strict fast that Tsiknopemti and Apokrias is actually a carnival, given that the word carnival, the Latin word carnival, the Italian word carnival, is the ceasing of meat eating. And that's what Mardi Gras is all about. Mardi Gras is the preparation that happens before Lent, as is Apokrias, meaning separation from meat and flesh and fat. So from Monday, what I'm going to observe, I'm doing a very strict fast, and I've been doing it for maybe about 5 or 6 years at least. What I do is more of a monastic fast, the fast that they do in the monasteries, so that from sundown on Sunday night, I have my last meal around about 4 o'clock on Sunday, and then all I have is water for Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. So I do 3 days of water only, making sure that I have lots of water and stay very, very hydrated. And on the evening on Wednesday, if I can, I go to the liturgy of the pre-sanctified gifts and have Holy Communion. And then after that, what I do have is maybe a handful of nuts, a few pieces of fruit, and a very, very light meal, which is not prepared, so not processed in any way. It is just natural sort of nuts and fruit, and that is my meal for Wednesday night. A very, very small meal on Sunday night. And then I go 2 more days of water only. And during that week, what I have learnt over time is a great lesson for me, a great lesson in life, because it's all counterintuitive. The first day is relatively hard. It goes slow, and not having anything to eat is a fairly big challenge. But what happens is the second day, whilst you think it's going to be tougher and harder, it's actually a little easier than the first day. You get to sleep well because your body, is depleted of the sugars, and your body is starting to get into ketosis. And come the third day, when your body is fully in ketosis, it is much, much easier than the first and second day. And what you find is that you think clearly, you've got a huge amount of energy after the third day, because your body, your brain is feasting on ketones, it's feasting on your fat reserves, and it's not looking for any sugars or any glycogen which is sitting in your muscles, because all of that has been depleted. It takes about 3 days to deplete your glycogen stores, and you're in ketosis. And then you have a little bit to eat, as I said, on Wednesday night, and then 2 more days of fasting, which basically allows you to drop about 5 or 6 kilos on the scales. A lot of that is because you haven't had anything to eat, so you've got no food in your body. But you do feel lighter, you do feel better, and your mind is really, really clear. You feel a little bit weak, but it's okay. This weakness is good because it allows you to deal with your passions, because during Lent is a time where you try and leverage and work on your virtues and try and minimize your passions, the things that separate you from God. So we fast from food, but we also fast from thoughts and from passions as well. And it's good. It's a good liberating time of our lives, where we can just sit down and just read scripture, relax, think about our lives, think about whether or not we're on the right track or on the wrong track, and how we can become better people. The thing that I learnt the other day, which is quite remarkable, because at 62 going on 63, I never quite knew this. Other people may know it, but I never knew it. And what I learnt was that during Lent, so from Katharī Deftera through to Easter Sunday, the Greek Orthodox Church does not celebrate Holy Liturgy other than on a Saturday or a Sunday. It has a few liturgies throughout the week, but they're not holy liturgies. They're not the full holy liturgies. They are liturgies of the pre-sanctified gifts, which means that they take the gifts that have been sanctified on a Saturday or Sunday liturgical service, and they are used midweek. So the only liturgies that are performed are Saturday and Sunday, and during Holy Week there is one on Holy Thursday morning as well. So the reason for that is that during Lent and Holy Week, all of our focus should be on the passions of Jesus and the resurrection, and not to be distracted by celebrating things during the week like days of saints or any other holy day. The whole focus of Lent and Holy Week is on one thing and one thing only: the putting on the cross and the death of Jesus, and the resurrection of Jesus on the Sunday. So that's the key focus, without any distraction whatsoever, which is quite powerful to think. And any name days that fall, like St. George, that fall during Lent and Holy Week, are usually celebrated after Easter. They're not celebrated during the time where we honour God, the Holy Trinity through Jesus. So just a little bit more about fasting. What happens is, in order to follow the fast, as I said, fasting is not optional. It's a canon of the church. The only way you don't fast is if you seek an exception to the rule from your holy and spiritual father. All Greek Orthodox are called to have a spiritual father. And what we're saying here is that everybody who is not fasting basically needs permission from their spiritual father in terms of why they are not fasting, or the spiritual father can give you a specific fast based on your needs. During the fast, you're not supposed to have oil during the week. But some people who are working, who have got manual work, just can't live without oil, olive oil. So their spiritual father may grant them permission to have oil. Other people need a little bit of milk in their coffee. Other people are taking medicines and may need to eat certain foods in order to process their medications. So these discussions are the discussions you have with your spiritual father, and he will guide you in terms of what to do and what not to do. So we don't just make decisions on our own accord, is what I'm trying to suggest. These things that we do or things that we don't do need to be negotiated, need to be discussed with our spiritual guide, our spiritual father, who will give his guidance, which we need to respect and to follow, because he is our guide, our spiritual guide, for our spiritual health and well-being. So it's good to listen to somebody else, to take their guidance, rather than to listen to people who are outside the church and who don't follow the traditions and the canons of the church. A, because they're ignorant, they don't know, or B, because they don't care. So at the end of the day, each and every one of us are responsible for what we do and accountable for what we do and for our own salvation. And there are things that we need to know, and there are things that we need to understand, and it's important to make those right decisions, because eventually each decision, each action that we take will have a first, second, and third level consequence in our lives. The other thing that people need to be aware of also is that in order to do Holy Communion, in order to get through the Lenten period and Holy Week, we are also called to do confession, where we sit down with our spiritual father and confess our sins, confess all of those things that have separated us from God for whatever reason, and seek forgiveness for those sins, where the priest has the delegated authority to absolve us of those sins as detailed in the scriptures. And it's something which is important, but once again, it's something that very, very few people do. Very, very few people, sadly, unfortunately, don't go to confession. And the important thing to understand is that when we die, we will be judged by our unconfessed, unrepented sins. So whatever you've done in your life, if you have confessed it and you're repented, then the Greek Orthodox Church says that the priest, via Jesus, via God, can help absolve those sins, and you're only going to be judged on what you don't confess. So any unresolved or any unconfessed sins are what you're going to be judged on. So it's scary to think that there are people who are passing away, who are dying, who are Christian, and this is part of their belief system, who haven't confessed those sins, and those sins have not been absolved via their priest and spiritual father. And that's why at the funeral service, the church and the congregation pray to God for him to show mercy to the person who has passed away, and to absolve any of their sins, or to be lenient on those sins. And I think that's it. So during the week, what I will be doing, or what I will be trying to do, because it's not easy, what I'll be trying to do is just have 3 very, very small, frugal meals with as much unprocessed food as possible, made up of fruit, vegetables, legumes, beans, bread, and things like that, from Monday to Friday. And on Saturday we are allowed to have wine and olive oil and crustaceans. You can have crustaceans because they do not have red blood, and whenever you're allowed to have oil, so if the priest allows you to have oil during the week, then you can also have crustaceans during the week. But you're allowed to have wine, oil and crustaceans on the weekend, unless your spiritual father gives you some other sort of permission. So during the weekend we indulge in foods with oil. We can cook foods with oil and crustaceans, crustaceans meaning prawns, scallops, calamari, octopus, but that's only for Saturday and Sunday. And then during the week we go back to our strict fast, which is 3 very, very small meals. So all the fast, all the Lenten fast and all the fast for Holy Week must be where we fight against gluttony. So you can't really say you're fasting and eating, a lot. Remembering what we eat and how we eat needs to be measured, needs to be frugal, and our focus should be more on prayer and living a life, a peaceful life, rather than just thinking about what we're going to eat and how much more we're going to eat. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there. I've covered most of the things I wanted to say. I think I've said a little bit more than what I was planning to say. But I guess it's important for us to have these adult discussions, because a lot of people don't have a connection with a spiritual father or the church. And this is where I can offer some help, where I can express and where I can share the knowledge that I have gained over the years and the experiences that I've gained with fasting and all of those sorts of things, and to nurture and comfort the people around me so that they can follow or take this pilgrimage, this spiritual journey, and follow what I am doing, following what other people in their communities are doing, following what their grandparents, their forefathers and foremothers would have done during their lifetimes, and living a healthy life both physically and spiritually. Because science informs us, science nowadays informs us that intermittent fasting is good for your health. Stopping your calories or reducing your calories for a certain amount of time and eliminating certain foods for a certain amount of time is beneficial to one's health, because not only is it good for the health, but it also kickstarts and regenerates the immune system, from what I read and from what I've learnt. So we're actually getting healthier because the fasting is kickstarting our immune system. A very powerful concept, a concept that we're now discovering through science, but funnily enough, communities throughout the world have been experiencing for thousands of years through their fasts. Because prior to the Christians fasting on Wednesday and Friday, the Jews fast for thousands of years on Mondays and Thursdays for whatever reason they fasted. Anyway, take care, have a good evening, and happy Sunday tomorrow, and all the best for the Lenten period, and Kali Dinami to all of those who are fasting. Kali Sarakosti, Nahume, and happy, holy, clean Monday and clean week for all of those who are participating. Yassas, and bye for now.